This video tutorial gives you an overview of what IBM mainframes are all about. This material has been prepared by Kausar Chunawala, the author of mainframes360.com, and is intended to help students, teachers and professionals who are linked to the field of mainframe computers. What is a mainframe computer? A mainframe computer is used in large organizations for processing huge volumes of data. For example, by governments to record census data, by banks to keep track of financial transactions, by insurance companies, etc. A mainframe computer is used for commercial data processing. Today, a mainframe computer refers to IBM's Z series computers. Now from here on, I'll talk just about mainframes, only mainframes, and about the big I. Mainframe computers, did you know this is a very interesting fact? Mainframe computers can stay up and running for years on end. Yes, they have, technically speaking, in their jargon, they have uptimes of around 5 years, 10 years and so on. IBM boasts of very huge uptimes. Why is this so? Mainframes have three important defining characteristics. Reliability, meaning it has features which can avoid and detect faults. So mainframes keep running without any faults for a very large period of time, 5 years, 10 years, without crashing, So you must have seen the infamous blue screen of death on the Microsoft Windows operating system. Nothing like that on mainframes. They just don't fail. Availability is the second important feature, meaning the amount of time a system is actually operational or working out of the total time. As I said, and I repeat again, mainframes have high availability. They are available at all times. Serviceability, meaning methods of easily diagnosing what is the root cause of a problem. So IBM mainframes, the company boasts of things like parity, cyclic redundancy check, RAID RAID, journaling file systems, hot swapping of components, virtual machines. These all are RAS features. Let's compare mainframes with microcomputers and mini computers. In the early days of computing, people categorized computers based on their size. The small sized computers which we find in our homes today, in car stereo systems, in the washing machine, in microwave ovens, the microchip in our cellular phones, all of them have the microprocessor. They are called microcomputers. Microcomputers have only a few input-output devices like keyboard and mouse and video monitor. Only one single user operates the microcomputer. A mini computer, on the other hand, is larger than a microcomputer but smaller than a mainframe. It falls somewhere in between. So essentially, it's a stripped down version of a mainframe computer. A baby mainframe, if you can call it that way. Popular mini computers are DEC VAX mini computer, IBM's mini computer range, which is AS400. Mainframe computers are room-sized computers that process huge volumes of data. As far as hardware is concerned, mainframes are as opposed to PCs or mini computers have one or more CPUs, lot of storage devices, that is hard disks and tape drives, lot of input-output devices, keyboards, card readers, printers. Many users work on a mainframe concurrently, that is mainframes were born to be multi-user. You might start wondering, if Windows is the OS available on an Intel computer, what's the OS that a mainframe server ships with? Well, the mainframe operating system is called MVS, Multiple Virtual Storage. In fact, MVS is said to be the operating system which makes the world move. But unlike Windows, it doesn't have a very fancy looking GUI. More on that later on. Let me talk about some examples where mainframe computers are used. Transaction processing and batch processing systems. Now, data processing systems are of two types: transaction processing and batch processing. What's transaction processing? A transaction is nothing but a simple operation that is done on a routine basis, on a day-to-day basis, like booking a ticket, making a credit or a debit. What is a transaction processing mode? Let's say you open your command prompt, which is just a program. You give it some input. The program processes the input, gives some output. Based on the output, you again give it some more input. Again, the program processes the input and gives you some output. And this cycle continues. This interactive input processing output cycle, okay, this mode of processing data is called transaction processing. Such systems are interactive systems are called transaction processing systems. Transaction processing systems employ mainframe servers. An example of this is when you swipe your credit card at a POS terminal at a retail store like Walmart, or even when you punch your credit card at an automated teller machine ATM. The details of your transaction are processed by a mainframe computer. But why? Well, this is precisely because just like you, thousands of people are making purchases and swiping their credit cards at the terminals. Processing thousands of these transactions in real time requires very good throughput, which means it requires very good reliability, availability, good processing power. So when the volume of transactions is very large, mainframes have to be used. Just for your information, IBM mainframes have a software installed called as KICS. It is used mainly for day-to-day transaction processing. In 2009, on the 8th of July, KICS has turned 40 years old. Similarly, railway reservation systems for booking tickets, you must have visited irctc.co.in, that is the Indian Railways reservation website. Flight reservation systems like jetairways.com employ mainframes for their transaction processing. Mainframes are also used for batch processing. Batch processing mode is another kind of processing, wherein you give all the input data to the program at the upfront, at the right at the beginning of the program. The program processes this huge volume of input data and then generates the output results in the form of a report. So all the input is supplied right at the beginning. A good example would be banks or credit card companies which generate their monthly account statements. Every month, 1 month periodically, the credit card companies have to update the account balances, adjust the transactions, that is the credits and debits, and generate a bank statement or a report which is dispatched to the customer. This is a batch job. Now, how did mainframe machines evolve? So here's how the transition took place. In 1944, IBM introduced the first mainframe computer. Rather, in the 1960s, it was the first mainframe computer was released. It was the System 360. The word 360 is attributed to the 360 degrees of a circle, which means that it catered to the needs of all the users, of everybody. The next was System 370. This was then followed by the System 370 XA, Extended Architecture, followed by Enterprise Systems Architecture, ESA 370, and finally the System 390. Today we have the Z series or the ZOS, which is the modern IBM mainframes. Thank you, and listen to more of the introduction of IBM mainframes in the next part of this tutorial.